Something we did ask all the supervisor candidates about, because it was one of the more closely divided votes in the last 2 years, was a 3-2 vote by the board to create a law enforcement committee to review in advisory capacity the policies, practices, and procedures of the sheriff's office and make recommendations, and also to at least bring to the board the issue of hiring an independent police auditor in the case of a use of deadly force incident. As sheriff, would you be willing to work with this law enforcement liaison committee, and in what capacity?
Yes, and in fact, I met with the Human Rights Commission here about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I spoke on this very issue. And you're right about the way that Human Rights Commission component was set up. You have an auditor, and the sheriff has to agree to the use of the auditor. Number one, the first threshold is that the board of supervisors is willing to fund that auditor to do the work. Number two, the sheriff has to agree to it. In my discussions with the Human Rights Commission, I made it very clear that I believe transparency of the sheriff's office is very important. And I made it clear that I would cooperate and work with the Human Rights Commission in this capacity to my fullest extent, because I believe that I need the support of the public to do my job as sheriff. With that said, I made it very clear that I have an issue when it comes to violating the rights of an individual deputy sheriff or correctional officer because of the protections they have under the law. It's an issue that I may not be able to cross because of that. Through our discussions, I understand that based on that component, that not only does the auditor then investigate the issue, but that investigation comes back to be reviewed by myself. And if there are issues in there that would be of a nature that would be in violation of that officer's rights, that we would be able to discuss that issue and would be able to deal with that so that those officers' rights would not be violated. My response from the Human Rights Commission was very positive. They understand my position on that. I am more than willing to work with them. In fact, I told them at the meeting that it's my intention, once I'm elected as sheriff, to attend their meetings on a quarterly basis, so they would have a chance to really interact with the sheriff and to see what my views are. If they can bring complaints or issues that have arisen during that quarter time, and we can discuss it. I think that interaction is very important. I'm very open to working with that. And with that said, let me go back to the Blue Lake contract that we've had for 2 years now. There was a similar component built into that contract for our interaction with the city and community members within the city. It doesn't have an auditor component, but everything else is very similar as far as complaints can be brought to the attention of the sheriff. We can work as a community to deal with those complaints. So we're already, in essence, doing something similar to that. I have no problem with continuing.
And you're referring to the, I've just heard about the call for applicants to a Blue Lake Police Commission for review purposes.
Correct. And that is something they're working on, and I'm in full support of it.
In terms of political reform, it's certainly a more heated race than certainly I can remember for Humboldt County Sheriff. What's your opinion as far as campaign contribution limits, keeping the influence of big money out of the race, and also term limits? Do you feel there should be a 2 or 3 term limits on folks who serve in the office of sheriff?
Well, that's always been, as far as the term limits go, that's something I don't really have an opinion on one way or the other, because I've known sheriffs throughout the state who have been in office for 2, 3, 4 terms that have been very successful and have large support of the communities. I think that as far as sheriff goes, you have someone in there who knows the job, who does the job, who's respected by the community. If he chooses to continue to run and he is elected by the people, then I believe that's a good thing. As far as campaign reform, I think that as far as this race has gone, I don't think you have any big outside money coming into either one of our campaign coffers. I am running a very transparent, above board, clean campaign. I have nothing to hide. I want it to be that way. I have a certain budget that I'm running for this campaign, and I'm going to stay within that budget, and I'm going to let the people vote and decide where we go from here.
One more specific question. Those education standards for law enforcement officers, some folks have suggested that the CR Police Academy is a good start, but that folks who want to rise in the ranks should have more professional education requirements. Where do you come down on that?
I encourage that. You know, not if someone goes on to further themselves in the state or state college system or university system, I encourage that. We also have extensive training and educational opportunities through Peace Officer Standards of Training. And it's very widely accepted throughout the state of California. We have very highly trained, educated officers who have taken vast opportunities through post Peace Officer Standards of Training, and we are on the cutting edge of making sure that our officers attend training and are up to date on all the mandates set down by the state. We meet all the mandates set down by the state as far as educational opportunities for officers. So I encourage that. I think it's a good thing. And that's one reason that I have, since becoming part of upper level management, executive level of the Sheriff's Office, I've taken every opportunity I can to take advantage of those training issues so that I'm prepared to go forward with my career.
Well, one more thing that just occurred to me is the Humboldt County Jail, that there have been some incidents of violence, not so much involving the staff, but involving the inmates with each other. Do you think there's a proper level of inmate control in the Humboldt County Correctional Facility? Anything you want to change there?
Well, I think we meet all our mandated posts. We have a large facility. We can have anywhere from 350 to 400 inmates in there at one time. So that's a lot of people to have to police and to make sure that all their needs are met on a daily basis. So I think that in any correctional setting, you're going to have incidents of violence. People are people. Once they're confined for a period of time, it's our job to make sure that we see those indicators of issues brewing. Sometimes they can be missed. Sometimes they happen so quickly that you don't have a chance to react fast enough to deal with them. But I think our incidences of violence, especially between inmates in our facility, is low, and we're going to continue to keep it that way based upon the training that we give our officers.
Any parting words for the voters as they head to the polls on June 8th to elect the next sheriff?
Well, I would just say this. I think you can understand and remember that as sheriff, I have the authority to deal with law enforcement issues within inside the county of Humboldt. I want to point out that I have the endorsement of Sheriff Harry Philp, the endorsement of Sheriff Dean Wilson in Delnor County, and Sheriff Tom Allman in Mendocino County. And I also have the backing and endorsement of the Humboldt County Correctional Officers and the Humboldt County Deputy Sheriffs. I think that speaks volumes as regards to their belief that I am the proper man for the job to carry on as Sheriff of Humboldt County. I have the integrity, the ability, the knowledge, and the support to do this job, and I vow and I promise to do the best job that any sheriff has done in this county, and you will see good things come out of the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office in the next 4 years after I'm elected.
All right, Mr. Downey, thanks for coming down to Has-Beens today.
Thank you, Dave.